he can get you rolling this.
I prefer light skins only, fam.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Light skins only, it's the best.
Why?
Because they can treat you better. Not saying black, ain't nothing wrong with black girls, but like,
Oh no,
it's just they start too much drama. You know what I'm saying? They too tight on you. They won't let you breathe.
The question is, which do you prefer, light skins or dark skins?
Light skins.
Why?
Because they light.
Light skins or dark skins?
Both.
Light skins or dark skins?
I think light skins.
Why?
Because, like, I'm already dark enough. I'm
Boy,
not
you
trying to
was
have my child be dark. Like,
So you
like
don't-
your skin tone.
You got me fucked up.
Boy, chocolate is bomb. Get out my video. Cause question, light skins or dark skins?
Light skins.
Why?
Because
Why? Light skins or dark skins?
Light skins.
Why?
More personally attracted to them, I guess.
Okay. Light skins or dark skins?
We're choosing between them?
Yeah, or you can choose both if you
Yeah,
prefer.
both. I mean,
Why?
They can have their beauty. I mean, you don't have to choose someone based on their color.
So the problem with the videos that we just showed you is the fact that we are discriminating against each other. We, as in the Black community, we already have to deal with discrimination from many other races, especially white people. And it makes the problem even worse when it's coming from ourselves, because we're supposed to be sticking together to overcome what's done to us. And instead, we're just making it worse by reacting the same way that others do.
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest problems in the Black community is the self-hatred that we have for ourselves. And we can see this through The Bluest Eye when I think it was like the chapter where Picola went to the park. You know, she was minding her business, you know, just being Black. And the little Black boys were making jokes about her. And the quote is, "It was their contempt for their own blackness that gave the insult its first teeth." And I think the worst part about them like bullying her was the fact that the first thing that they could think of to like insult her about was her being Black. And I just think like the reason why they're like that is because of like, I don't know, maybe it's because of like how society has like bred them to be, but like we shouldn't be like that, because you shouldn't hate your own kind.
Yeah, it wasn't like the students Black. Wasn't most of the students Black. Right. Like you call her Black emo, but you're probably the same shade as her. And it's kind of, or
even darker.
Exactly. It's upsetting because we knew her house was messed up. I mean, they did talk about her father, but we knew she had different other things that they could speak about. They shouldn't be speaking about it in the first place. But there were so many other things that they could speak about, and the first thing they said was Black emo. I feel like society just has been conditioned to think that darker skin colors, like this one, is just ugly. They think that like the lighter you are, the better you look, and that's not.
I just think it's bogus.
It's not the case. So like, why do y'all think this is a problem? Because we know what the problem is. The problem is is colorism and self-hatred and homophobia. But why do you think there's colorism? And
sorry. I think that the root of the issue and the root of all issues that POC and Black people have in America specifically would have to be white supremacy. The reason why we think that Black is ugly, or we think that textured hair is ugly, or that having like 4C hair or more coarse hair is less manageable and that we should like perm our hair and make it straight, is because of white supremacy and what the white man says. The white man says that skinny is beautiful and you shouldn't have any curves and you should be light. And if you're Aryan, which is blonde hair and blue eyes, that you're like elite, or you're at the top of the hierarchy. I think that's the problem. And if we get out of the ways of like perpetuating the stereotypes that white supremacy puts on Black people, I think that we'll be better off. But until we can realize that we're actually beautiful in ourselves, and it's not about what white people say, or it's not about what society says about us, and if we can just be able to just embrace ourselves and embrace our culture, we'll be way better off. But we can't like go anywhere if we don't establish that in the first place.
Right. So I do wanted to say one thing. Well, the thing I want to speak about is white supremacy. we see it to this day. I'm pretty sure you guys know what the Vampire Diary is, right? The TV show. Y'all know who Bonnie is in the TV show, right? She was told multiple times that she could not wear her natural hair. It had to be flat iron, and she had to have a bonnet on. She had to wear braids because I guess they thought that it was nappy looking or something. But we see throughout history that it's still a reoccurring issue that we're facing with white supremacy. And instead of sticking together, we're turning each other apart. Because when we compare dark skins with light skins, all we're doing is compare each other, and we're just slowly but surely creating we're becoming more divided with each other when we keep trying to compare different shades of black. It's all black. So why do we got to compare different shades of black? Doesn't make sense.
I'd like to mainly place the blame on, like, and you said white supremacy, because even in The Bluest Eye, Maureen was seen as so superior to Pecola just because her skin was lighter. Now all of a sudden everybody accepted her. And when we are made to feel like we're hideous and we need a search to find what's pretty, most times that's considered to be white people. And that's a problem in this community. And it's especially bad when we have our styles that we do, like hairstyles, like for example, box braids. We wear box braids and we're talked about and put down because of the fact that we wear box braids. And then white people turn around and wear box braids. And then it tears their hair out. But we were put down for the same thing that white people are trying to hype up for themselves, which is a very big problem.
Right. And it's not just box braids, it's dreadlocks. We see that with different races and ethnicities trying to wear dreadlocks. We see many different things that people are trying to do. Like waves, let's be real, waves weren't really popular until black men started doing it. And now
white people are doing waves?
Yes, there are some white people out there who want to do waves. Like waves weren't popular until black people started doing it. Braids, box braids. This is no offense to white women. This is kind of offense. But at least look good in box braids. You know,
they can't because it's not made for them. It's not
right. And then
it's not for
your hair is what? I mean, your head is purple. Your face is red because it hurts. And then you take it out and you're losing clumps of hair because that's the side effect. What box braids do is they pull on your hair. That's what braids do. It's a protective style made by black people. So when you try to copy that style, and it's not against you, it's your hair is the type of hair you have is just not fit for it.
I feel like, I don't know, I've been thinking about this for the past couple of takes we've been taking. And I feel like black culture is being gentrified. Like, let's be real here. Black culture is being gentrified. Like, specifically like sneaker culture, because no way resellers are taking shoes that were like $100 and maxing them up to like $700, $800. And I get the supply and demand chain, but that's like capitalism, and capitalism isn't made for black people or poor people. So it kind of just backfires. And first of all, sneaker culture isn't even sneaker culture. It's just black culture, because like what happened was it came to TikTok and then the white kids decided to take it and run with it. And they didn't give credit. The problem that I have when people take things from different cultures and they don't give credit where credit is due. And I think that's where the big problem comes into. Like, I'm not going to tell you that you can't wear like box braids. I mean, like, you know, it's not for you and you can wear them if you want to, but like it really becomes a problem when you say they're like boxer braids or there's something else. Like when you take the name and you kind of like throw it out the window and make it something else that it's not. That's the really big issue that I have with it. Of course, like, you shouldn't be wearing them, but like the real problem is that they take the meaning out of everything and they just kind of make it their own. But in reality, they're just gentrifying it.
I feel like TikTok also is a main cause with black culture starting to be Gen Z culture, or just
even with AAVE. Because what is Gen Z conversation? No, right. It's AAVE.
Like, there's just a lot of people using language that originated from black people, and now we were looked as bad. You know, we were looked as ignorant, saying finna, about to. Now everybody want to use it. Period. Per. Like, no, that's not cool.
What else was I gonna say? I feel like we should start gatekeeping stuff. Like,
should.
I feel like
Most definitely.
we should be gatekeeping, like, especially with, like, I don't know, just with everything. I feel like, no, you can't do it is my culture. And granted, that contradicts what I said about, well, you can wear them, they're just going to look stupid on you, like they are. But like in reality, we should be gatekeeping stuff. Like, how we should stop telling people what like AAVE means, like what certain words mean, because they just take them and they just mess it up for me. Like, personally, I feel like they just mess it up. Like, for like, you know, like that trend where like people were like, it's bussin'. I hate the word now. I hate it. And it's because they took it and they overuse it. And that's the problem that I have. Like, or with per or period. People just overuse it for like everything. Like every other word, every other sentence is period, per. Like it's like repetitive, and it's one thing to take the word and use it, but it's another thing to take the word and then not even know what you're saying.
And like, if we connect this back to the main, our main topic, I think that this is really causing a lot of divide within our community, because there are those who, like, I don't see an issue with it.
Right.
They don't see an issue with Black culture just being used by any and everybody. But when we do it, we're looked like we're just bad or something.
We're ghetto.
And I think that's Coombs. That's where Coombs come from. And that's just more, I know I shouldn't say the word, but that's just more,
but that's the word for it.
Yeah, that's just more division within our culture. And that also leads to, we said this earlier before, not on this one, but with companies, big multi-million-dollar companies, if we start investing and supporting Black businesses more, because sometimes, people do make jokes, but sometimes, like, some of the things that Black businesses do try to sell do be a little, they just try to sell anything and say support Black businesses. But the true, real Black businesses, like, I can't remember the name of this business, but they sell hoodies, and the inside of the hoodie is satin, so you can wear your hair out and you won't mess your hair up. Or girls who sell good, authentic satin bonnets. We should support those businesses, because they could become multi-million-dollar businesses, and that can help Black people in the long run.
And another thing is, sorry, did you want to go, Sasha?
Oh, sure. And the thing about that is that white people do it all the time. If a white person makes a lot of money, a millionaire, they'll have their friends and family in on that. And we're so stingy when it comes to businesses and when it comes to winning. And we really need to support each other, because at the end of the day, that's why Black people have what we call the streets, because everybody was just basically like, oh, okay, I got myself then. That's all that I have, so I have to work with it. And we lose so many people like that. And it has dictated what our community is perceived as, which is a problem. Instead of supporting each other, working together, building each other up, we're now tearing each other down.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that was
but
nice.
Isn't that normalized? Like, before you say something, Kennedy, isn't that normalized? Like, people starting to just go on the streets, or that's the streets. Like, it's like we normalized it.
Well, it wouldn't have to be like that if, one, we work together, and two, the system that we like work in wasn't pent against us. If the government wasn't pent against us and all these other things, if like we didn't have capitalism, if we didn't have a capitalistic society, we would not be in the place that we were. If slavery did not exist, we wouldn't be like this. And all the other things, like, there are so many different things that like play into like why people go to the streets and stuff, because it's just like a cycle. Like, I don't know how to explain it without like going too in depth, but like if you live in poverty, the crime rate is going to be higher because you live in poverty, and because things are hard to get, things are scarce. And so what happens is you have to find a means of hustle. And if sometimes people have to drop out of school for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what, like, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And sometimes that means dropping out of school. And a lot of the times, the only way out of poverty, or the quickest way out of poverty, is to have a high school diploma. And if you don't have a high school diploma, you can't really get anywhere. And so you're like stuck in this place. And because like a lot of minimum wage jobs aren't really living wage jobs, they're just minimum wage, and you can't really live off of minimum wage, for being real here, like, they just happen to just stay where they are. And so the cycle just continues. It just continues and it doesn't stop until somebody goes to college. But then they're in debt, and it just kind of keeps going. Like, you can't really stop it. I mean, you can, but
like $7.25 is not livable. That's not a good wage to live in. If your apartment costs hundreds of dollars and you're only making $7 an hour, how are you going to live? You need more than just an apartment. You need clothes, you need food. So that's not livable. And the common denominator of all the issues within the Black community is white supremacy.
White supremacy and capitalism.
White people. Yeah, white supremacy and capitalism. That's all the issues within the society, within our society. That's where it stems from. So on that note, who do you guys think it affects? Like, of course it affects Black people, but you think it's generational?
Specifically. Did you want to go, Sasha?
It specifically affects this generation. More so in the fact that we already have to deal with what everybody else has to. When on top of all of the added things. So, like, for example, there's a trend on TikTok right now.
Okay, y'all, why do these new age kids want to sit in their rooms all freaking day? And I mean, like, all day. Like, what's wrong? Like, I mean, if you're one of them kids, spill the tea. Like, this is a safe space. Let us know. Like, do y'all simply just want to sit in your room just because y'all just want to sit there? Like,
there was this lady who was just like, why does this generation always stay in their rooms? And everybody is consistently replying to her, like, because y'all don't acknowledge our trauma and y'all just make everything worse, etc., etc. We're the most affected. And then plus we're just now beginning our lives and we have to deal with all of this. Other people, yeah, they still have to deal with it, but not only is it out there, but it's also embedded underneath. So for example, like the colorism thing, since my skin tone is lighter, I get a lot more attention than other girls. And I still get fetishized by men because my skin is lighter, which is a huge problem because now it's creating even more self-hate within our community. And then on top of that, we're supposed to be starting a life. And at this point, we don't want to have kids because we don't want to bring people into this life. We don't want to have to make others go through this. So then that's just going to make our population decrease more and more because there's two options. There's the option to have kids and to raise them better. But then there's the other option. What if it doesn't get better? So that not only affects us the most, but that affects future generations if there will be some.
And I think that's like rooted within how we were raised and how we were taught. Like you were said, you get more attention. I know a lot of Black people who are darker than your midnight, light in your skin. Of course, now we're seeing that people are saying embrace your melanin because it's beautiful. You know, dark is beautiful, but it's still an issue within our within our home. If we're going to get personal, it's an issue within our home with how our parents say things and do things. And back to the video that you were talking about, the duets that we were seeing in the constant responses was, they're not comfortable, we are not fine, we're not okay, people are dealing with mental illness, you know, our opinions doesn't matter, our feelings are invalidated. That causes more division because now it's like, essentially, they live in toxic households and they don't want to be associated with their parents when they leave. And then what happens? What if that bloodlines just stop? What if it doesn't continue? What if something happens? You know, it affects our future generations.
I agree with both of you guys about like how it affects us and the generations to come if there are generations after us. But another thing that I feel like that will solve the problem or take steps into solving the problem is having conversations. Like how we're having a conversation now, everybody should be having these conversations. Like a couple weeks ago, I was talking to my mom and I was like, yeah, and people are overusing AAVE. And she was like, what? what is AAVE? Like just having those conversations and being able to inform people about different things, whether it be like simple things like, you know, cultural appropriation, or hey, that's not cool, you shouldn't do that. You can't say that because you're white or because you're so and so, like that's colorist or that's racist and all those things. Like you have to inform people, because if people don't know, people are going to say things out of ignorance, not because they mean to hurt your feelings or because they mean to be rude, but because sometimes people just don't know. And so the only way that we can like get somewhere is if we have these conversations with whoever.
Yeah, that was the next question. What can we do to move forward? And then we're going to speak about, you know, homophobia, what we could do to move forward with that. But I think that's one of the main things we could do. Have a conversation. Look at us now. We're all 3 different skin tones, but we have very similar beliefs. If we have conversation with our parents, with other people, different races, especially white people, and inform them and get them out of that level of ignorance, we can become a more diverse, unified, inclusive society. Did you want to say anything, Sasha, before we move on to our final topic?
No.
Wait, I want to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just like really quick. It's kind of off topic, but it's like important. I just think it's crazy how, because I'm the only child, I can end my bloodline right here. I don't have to have kids. Like I could just end it all. I could stop it right here. Honestly, I just don't want to have kids because there's just so many problems with having kids. Like not even just like the birthing aspect, but like just bringing another Black kid into society and like them having to like live with all this. I digress. You can go to the next question.
I agree. Like, especially with all the mental illnesses and traumas that I have, and the fact that they're ignored in the Black community and pushed as, oh, you don't have anything to be sad
about. You just need God. Oh my God, I hate that one. Sorry.
I don't want to have to bring that. I don't want to have to make my child go through that. And I know that because of the community, there's a good chance that they're not going to come talk to me about that.
Yeah,
and that's something I want to have to deal with.
That's another problem. Mental health.
That's a parental issue, though. Like, I feel like parents need to make sure that children is at a level of comfortability where they can come speak to them about certain things. Like,
they also need to notice like sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but they also need to notice fluctuations in like attitudes and stuff. Like if you notice your kid is staying in their room more often, or you notice that your kid is more standoffish, you need to talk to them about that. Because if you don't talk about it, it just kind of makes stuff worse. And then they grow up with a mental illness that you don't know about. And then like the cycle just continues because they don't know how to handle their own trauma because it's not healed. And so they just pass it on to their kids and their kids' kids. And, you know, everything's generational tied.
Like I was depressed. I would say that early in the school year, I was very sad. And I know a lot of students within our class was as well. I would stay in my room a lot. I would just sleep in all day. Sometimes I would miss school because I had no motivation to get up. Nothing at all. The only thing that slipped were, you know, attendance, of course. I kept my grades. But we don't.
Yeah, okay, my attendance.
So many apps. Okay. No, but yeah, I didn't feel comfortable talking about it because when I did talk to my parents about it, well, my mama, she said, "Why are you depressed? You have no reason to be depressed." I don't know why I'm depressed. I just am.
Listen to your kids.
Yeah, please just listen to your children. Like,
yeah, literally just listen. All you have to do is listen, take it into account, and like, you know, like sometimes there aren't things that you can do about it. Like, you can't just cure depression. It's not gonna happen overnight. Like, you feeding me a good meal isn't gonna change the fact that I'm like sad or like depressed. Like, the only thing you can do about it is get your kid help.
Exactly.
But then again, most Black people can't get therapy because therapy costs money. And you know what the problem is? Capitalism.
There we go.
If we have free healthcare, we wouldn't have these problems. Oh my God, capitalism just messes everything up.
That and white supremacy, it's dooming America, but we're fighting. But what were you saying, Tasha?
I don't even remember.
I'm sorry.
But okay, so now that we're done with that, I'm happy this is like a good chill podcast.
Yeah.
Let's move on to homophobia. I know this is gonna be a very
we gotta cut this down. What time is it?
Okay, so like Sasha said before, our new topic now is homophobia.
Would you rather have a thought daughter or a gay son?
A thought daughter.
Why?
Because, you know, come from a family that we don't tolerate gay shit, all right? We don't tolerate gay shit, all right? And you know, my daughter, we can take her to the church and pray for her sins, but no gay shit around here.
Would you rather have a gay son or a thought daughter?
A thought daughter.
Why?
Because I want a gay son. He might try to fuck me.
You guys are ugly. Would you rather have a thought daughter or a gay son?
A thought daughter.
Why?
Because I'm not having my son come to my crib and fucking another nigga. That got me fucked up.
Gay son or thought daughter. I don't know if we spoke about that earlier, but that's very homophobic because, gay son or thought daughter, because who wants their daughter to be a thought? And if you don't know what a thought means, it means that H word over there. And no one wants their daughter to be a thought. That means that there's a lot of sexual intercourse happening. And we don't want that. So a lot of people will just say gay son.
You said it wrong.
I did say it wrong. Okay. No one wants a gay son. Like, it seems like people don't want a gay son. So instead they will say thought daughter. And that's adding more issues. That's showing your homophobia within gay people. And that's also showing that you will rather have your daughter having a lot of sex.
Intercourse.
Right. They could potentially be getting diseases and things like that over having a son that has something that they can't control being gay. It's like being black. We can't control being black. If I woke up and say, I want to be white, I can't do that. Even if I bleach my skin, I will always be black to the end till I die. Someone who's gay can't control being gay. But it seems like it's shunned down upon. You know why? Christianity and white supremacy.
But no, like seriously, I've had a lot of encounterments during quarantine with a lot of homophobic people. And like, why are you homophobic? Like, what? Like, I was like, why do you care? And they're like, well, because they're like sinners and like all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay. You have to realize that not everybody is Christian. Not everybody is going to worship the same God as you or whatever, what have you. And like, being gay is literally natural. It's a natural occurrence because you do not choose who you're attracted to. Like, when you're born, you're just born. And then like, as you grow older, you realize who you're attracted to. It's not like you're not born straight, you're not born gay. It's more of like okay, maybe you are, but it's more of an attraction thing. You kind of just, when you grow up, you realize who you are and like who you're attracted to. 1, 2, why do you care? I just feel like people care too much. Like, you just care about other people's like personal lives for whatever reason. I feel like people use Christianity and they use it as a weapon to demonize gay people, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just think it's beyond me. I don't know why people are homophobic. It's honestly none of your business. What people do in their bed or in their room, that's none of your business.
Right. And I think 2 words should never be in the same sentence. Being black and being homophobic. You can't be black and homophobic because you're a minority. Why are you handing on another minority for something that they can't control? It doesn't make sense. And then there's those who say BLM, but I don't like gay people. BLM, but that trans person needs to die.
Right. It's like,
how BLM, right? Right. Make it make sense because it's not making.
It's not.
Exactly.
Math isn't math, and I'm not getting 4. I'm getting 5.
Exactly.
It's not making sense. But I do think it stems from Christianity because white people, of course, no offense to good white people out there, because I know it's not all of you. It's just a majority of you, and I apologize. But it comes from Christianity because they try to interpret a book that was not written in their language. The original Bible was written in Hebrew. They interpret that and they tried to say, instead, the scripture said a man shouldn't lay with a child, pedophilia. Even though that's very common within churches, that's a different conversation. And now they're saying a man shouldn't lay with another man. Now they're talking about homosexuality in general. And now that's just been transcribed over and over and over.
I feel like modern day Christianity isn't for Black people, because like I'm talking like post colonialism, like that type of Christianity. Because Christianity was, like, for being like historically accurate, Christianity was in Africa, but it wasn't like whatever this is now. Like I know that much. And like, yes, they're like the translation just mentioned not like boy, not man and man, whatever. But a couple verses before that, I think it's Leviticus like 18 and like 15, it says that it says something about like you can't judge people because who are you to judge, and you are not God. And it's like, I'm God, right. It's confusing. But it's like, it says that you can't judge because you are not God, you are not perfect. So who are you to judge? Because you're just as much as a sinner as they are.
Right. And I see a lot of Christians saying that I can't judge you because that's up to God, but I personally just don't support it. And why are you sharing your opinion if you don't support it? Your opinion wasn't asked for. You're just adding up to more homophobia. And that's very apparent within the Black community. I feel like instead of speaking about positivity, more Black men, but we can speak about that next. I feel like we speak more negatively than positively. I really do see that. I see a lot of hatred being spewed instead of happiness. Like, just tell that person they look nice. You don't always have to hate on somebody.
To yourself.
Right. Or just keep your opinion to yourself.
Exactly.
If it's not nice, don't say it. What are you saying, Sasha?
Like, just mind your business. Mind your business.
Right, just mind your business.
Positivity.
But like you said, Kennedy, and this will be our last topic for this podcast, Black men. And as a Black man, I would say we need to do better. But go ahead, Kennedy.
Controversial statement.
Don't say
Black
it.
men are the weakest.
Oh, I thought you were about to say kill all men, but yeah, go ahead.
No. No, but I think the Black men are the weakest link.
I can understand why you think that, though. I can really, as a Black man, I don't take offense to it because I can understand why you think that. And when you say those things, you're meaning it to the men who are homophobic and colorist.
That's like, it's implied that people are talking about the bad people. Like, of course, you're not supposed to generalize like people, but like, what we're talking about in this case. Like saying all Black people are bad, that's kind of different. But like with this, I think the Black men are the weakest link. It's just kind of how they've been groomed in society. It's not completely their fault, but at what point do you realize that society can't control your brain and you can think for yourself? That's the question.
If we kind of being honest here, compared to Black women are more accepting than Black men. I'm not saying all Black women are accepting, but you will see more Black women being accepted than Black men when it comes to a lot of things.
Side note, I don't want to be a strong Black woman. They need to kill that narrative. I don't want to be a strong Black woman. I want to be in touch with my femininity. I want to cry. I don't want to be strong, and I don't want to be at the front hold of everything. I gotta be in the front.
Exactly. We deserve a chance to rest.
No, for you. People deserve a chance to rest in general. People deserve a chance to express their opinions. And I think that a lot of Black men are homophobic and colorist because they have been groomed and taught that the only thing that you can express is being angry or being negative. You can't cry. You can't show your
oh my God, I hate that. Men
or you
don't
can't
cry.
be sad. Like what does that mean? That those are common things. People are going to cry. Nature. Right, it's human nature. So why can't people show that? You're supposed to be strong all the time, but sometimes you need to cry. It's very it's good for you actually. They say you're supposed to cry every day. You're supposed to cry every day. Not everybody do it, but you're supposed to.
Yeah, I don't know. That narrative of being a strong Black, I'm back to it. That narrative of being a strong Black woman and you can do it and you're so strong. No. Sometimes I don't want to be strong. Sometimes I just want to sit in the middle of the floor in the dark and cry.
White people don't have to be strong.
Right.
When it comes to that specifically, I'm not saying in general, but specifically to the problems that we have to deal with. They don't have to, but sometimes we deserve a break. We deserve a chance to breathe. Like, we deserve rest because it's a lot, especially because we're so young and we have to deal with so much. Because I'm mixed and I've had to deal with my great aunt completely ignoring me because I'm Black and she's white. My aunt.
Like that.
Like,
that's so bogus.
With mixed people, it's like Black people try to, you're white, you're not Black, you're Black fathers with coats. Right, like they're Black. I hate that. They're Black just because they're mixed, but they are Black. You know?
Okay. Side note, but it still pertains to the conversation. Do you think that a white person, mixed person, can say the N-word? I say no. You don't look Black.
What do you mean by a white person mixed?
No. Like white passing, like
no.
There are these twins, like they look white, but they're Black. Like they're mixed, if that makes sense.
I say no. I say no. The whole point of that word being that word is because it was applied to people with the skin color of Black. So now we use that as slang to add a positive meaning to it. But had this been the olden days, you would not have been called that word because of your skin tone. So I feel like you can't, because that wouldn't have applied to you in the first place.
Right.
Because it's just like...
You
also.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you have to prove that you're Black, maybe you should say it. Like, okay, so my friend, she made this TikTok and about this girl at her school, and she said the N-word, and she was like, "Oh, but I'm 45% Black, so it's okay." And I was like, if you have to say a percentage, perhaps you shouldn't be saying the word. Just maybe. Like, yeah, man, I'm 45, so it's whatever. Like, huh? Like, it didn't make no sense. If you have to say the percentage, you shouldn't say it. Like, it's weird. It's getting weird.
You're white passing. I will say, don't say it, because it's like you're gonna allow white people who think that you're white to say it, because you're just saying it because you know that you're Black, but they don't know that. They think that you're white because you're white passing, and you're indirectly being an enabler. And just don't say the word. Just don't say the word. If you aren't a skin tone like this, just don't say it.
I just feel like it's a really touchy topic, and like I don't even know like. I guess it would be taking away their Blackness, because, you know, like a lot of mixed people feel like they're too white for the white. What is it? Too Black for the white kids and too white for the Black kids. And like I don't know. It's a hard subject to talk about. I had a conversation about it a couple days ago, but I just feel like if you have to like say, "Oh yeah, I'm Black," maybe you shouldn't say it.
But that's just also a lot of self-hatred towards mixed people. I feel like every race has something. It's just self-hatred within our community. Of course, it stems from white supremacy and capitalism, but at what point do we say enough is enough? Like, sadly, the death of George Floyd showed how powerful Black people can be if we stick together. And it's upsetting that the only time we stick together is when a Black person dies. Yeah, we shouldn't just stick together when a Black person dies. We should stick together in general.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That period from May to November. Oh my God, I was a mess. I cried like a baby so many times, because it was George Floyd, and then it was somebody else, and then it was somebody else, and then it just kept going. Then the riots, and then people were like, I had people like my neighbors and stuff tell me like, "Oh, he deserved to die. He beat a pregnant woman," or something crazy like that. I'm just like, huh? Or they're like, he died of an overdose. It wasn't because his knee was on his neck. Really? Like, it just, I don't know. It kind of like messed with my brain that people really like legit hate Black people. Like, I've never experienced straight up like face-to-face racism like that until like that like actually happened. Like, of course, like microaggressions, but like I'm talking straight up like Black people are criminals type beat. Like, it messed with my brain, and I cried like that summer and that winter. Like, it was just like a really cold summer for me, and it just like I I cried so much.
That's how ironic came into a cold summer.
Yeah.
It was it was a dark time for many Black people.
But yeah, it was just like, it just wouldn't stop. And then like people getting hurt at the thing. And then Kyle Rittenhouse, didn't that happen around the same time? It's him not being in jail for me. And then the insurrectionists, like it just doesn't stop, because the insurrectionists were saw as heroes, but in real life they were terrorists. But like when we were fighting for human rights and fighting for like a voice, we're like demons. Yeah, thugs. You know those white thugs on the Capitol, January 6th?
Right.
Messing stuff up. But yeah, it's a lot. It really is. And so like I feel like white people shouldn't be like, oh well, you're Black, and I had somebody tell me you're not really for BLM, because I went to my protest in you, and I was just like, huh? Like that's just like performative activism. Like you're doing it to brag about it instead of doing it to actually like make a change. And Black people, we don't have to protest. Like not all of us have to protest, because some of us aren't strong enough to do that. And people have to realize that. Like not all Black people are going to be at the front lines. And we're not all going to be protesting, because we're not all strong enough to do that. There are people that are strong enough, and there are people that are like just weak. Like some of us are just marshmallows. We can't handle it. And that's
right.
Okay.
And sometimes people don't have the resources to be able to do those type of things. Not everybody can go to or protest. They might have some issues at home that they need to deal with. But they know that they support BLM. And that's all that matters.
Right. And some people just have anger issues, and like there's just like so many different factors to why some people just don't go to protest. Like, of course, if you go to protest and you're at the front lines and you're like, that's good, that's cool, that's great. But like for the people that can't go, that's also okay. It's also okay to just sit back and kind of be able to reflect, because a lot of the times people might be like physically strong, but their like mentality and their mental state, it's not going to work. Because if we're being real here, if I went to one of the protests, I probably would have been boo-hooing. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, because it's like, wow. Like, I'm really out here trying to fight for rights. And it's 2021. What happened, like, to the 14th and 15th Amendment and the 13th? Did they really do anything? Do they really have any value? Because, like, our votes are trying to be suppressed, too. So it's like, what are we really getting here? All I got is a citizenship, and I don't even know if I want that. People don't even like Americans. That's a side note, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, they can make as many laws as they want, but that's not going to change the fact that the majority of our country legitimately hate us and legitimately want to see us lose and want to see us die. Yeah. That's not going to change that. And then they're going to continue to get away with it because the base of our country is based on white people and white supremacy. So they're going to continue to get away with it. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Why? That's the big question. Why? Why do white people, why the Europeans, why did they hate us so much? What did Africans do?
I think that
jealousy.
You hate things that you can't do, or you hate things that you can't be. Like personally, I hate math because I don't understand it most of the times. So I feel like they hate us because they can't understand how we thrive or how we work. Jealousy. And yeah, the reason why, like, I don't know. I think it's because they're like legit afraid of us. Because I think by 2050, the white race will be the minority, if I'm not mistaken. That could be wrong. But I read it in some type of article, and I keep seeing it. Like, they're going to be the minority, and they're trying so hard to not be the minority because they're afraid to be treated how they treat us. But I mean, like, you know.
But I don't think they have to worry about that. Not until the system is changed, because the system is good for them. So they shouldn't be so scared. But if we're going to go back in time, I think it was a jealousy issue. They saw that black people were superior in many ways.
Because they don't think that white privilege exists. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. They don't think that exists. Like, somebody told me, white privilege doesn't exist. What are you talking about? What? Like,
it does, in fact, exist.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like white supremacy. That's all I have to say. White supremacy. Like,
yeah. And
that's the issue. I said that's the issue. White supremacy.
I feel like even if we were able to like flip it around and gain some power, all that people of color are gonna do is just try to do the same to white people that was done unto us. Which, you know, understandable because that's low-key where my mind is at this point. But that's not gonna it's not gonna have room for growth. It's just gonna be the same thing we've been dealing with for the entirety of this country's existence. It's just going to be the same thing but reversed. Yeah, we get our revenge and it's going to feel good, but what is that really going to do for the country?
Not gonna lie, I don't want slaves.
It's like you know when a white person called you the N-word with the hard ER. You know, some black people first initial response is to go upside their head. Others are to cuss them out. But I feel like those are valid responses. They really are. But I think the response we need to do in order for us to look superior, because we are, and show that we're not just going to let them get to us with one word, even though I can understand why that word has a lot of history and context behind it. But just ignore them or let them know how ignorant they are. And I know that's going to be hard for a lot of black people, and I can understand why it's going to be hard. Trust me, I've been called that word before. I wanted to do it. I didn't do it. I fought back with my words, respectfully, kind of. But I think that we just should. It's going to be hard, but sometimes we got to sacrifice in order to have a better society.
Not gonna lie though, I kind of disagree with you on that, because we've been turning the other cheek for like 50 plus years, and at this point, I'm about to turn it to Nat Turner. I'm not gonna go around killing white people, but
just start swinging.
Like I'm not. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like we've been quiet and we've been like turning the other cheek, you know, being like Jesus, being one, being like so calm. But like at this point, I'm tired of being calm, because the only time I listen is when we get aggressive or when we get loud.
You're right. And it's what do we do now? We tried to be positive. We tried to, you know, make it seem like it didn't affect us when it really did. Right. And I don't want us to turn the other cheek, but I want us to just not try to resort straight to violence.
Yeah, of course not. But like, you know, I'm gonna give you a chance. Like somebody called me. Now it's different if you put your hands on me or if you spit at me.
Now
you spit on me.
In that case, it's self-defense.
Yeah, I just like watching some of the documentaries and stuff and really actually like understanding it now and seeing like white people spit on me. I don't know how they did it. I really don't. I don't know how our ancestors did it. And they were just so calm about it, you know, like hopeful. Me, spit on me if you want to.
I don't think many people would survive in slavery because like they're just you're not. I know I wouldn't, because you're not going to sit there and spit on me. You're not going to whoop me. You're not going to do anything to me and expect me to just sit there. Right. I feel like I would have been dead.
But I guess most people were complacent, or they were like more submissive because of fear. Like, I guess it would be different if you were there, but I'm talking about like, I don't.
Yeah, but they were morally and mentally pushed down and broken.
They were just tired.
Yeah, so I can understand why there wasn't as much fights as it was, but thankfully it's over and we're trying to move forward. It's still a lot of big obstacles, even though the results are still apparent today. And slavery wasn't that long ago, if you want to be honest.
It wasn't what?
A lot of issues wasn't that long ago. Like they try to make it seem like slavery happened thousands of years ago. It was only 300 years. They tried to make it seem like discrimination and racism just ended.
I thought
in the 70s, there was still segregation.
Right.
But what
I thought you said it wasn't that awful. That was like, okay, Kanye.
Ooh, no. Right. I said they tried to make it seem like it didn't, it lasted. I mean, it ended
It only ended 165 years ago. What's that? 3 generations?
A lot of issues just recently ended. So
right, the civil rights movement. My uncle was alive in the middle of the civil rights movement. He was born in 65. Hello,
yeah, I believe
it didn't end
I
until
believe
68. Did
yeah,
it?
I
Or
believe
did
my
it?
grandmother was in one of the marches, and she's
Yeah,
still alive.
Period.
like the riots of 67. Like this stuff was not thousands of years ago. It was basically yesterday. Like, that dawned on me a couple days ago too. Not a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago. I was just like, wow, it was not that long ago. And people try to say, well, slavery doesn't really affect you today. Ma'am, it was
It
only like
doesn't?
3 generations ago. It was only 3 generations ago. What do you mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I can say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. White people are a trip. Like racist white people,
Yeah.
like they just. It's like you're mad for what? Like I don't
Why
even
do you exist?
I'm just existing, bro.
Like,
Or like
come on now.
the entitlement that they feel. I was in the store today. They didn't have on a mask. Mask mandate not over yet, bro. You got to the first. You got to the first. And she looked at me like I was crazy because I had a mask on. Granted, I'm vaccinated, but I don't want to walk around and people think that I'm a Trump supporter. It's just like, dang, you a Trump supporter and you're black?
Yeah, that's.
Hello?
I don't even want to say it because that's very.
I don't want to talk about it no more. It's giving cum.
So, any final thoughts?
No. We didn't talk a lot.
Yeah, I really just feel like we got to get out of this country. Like
the African diaspora, we should have went to Libya. I'm telling Liberia. We should have went. I don't know what my family was thinking. You know, the Great Migration was great and all, and that's how we got here. But in reality, we could have just went to Liberia or Libya. I don't remember which one it was. But we could have just hopped on that boat, went back over there. Or plane, whatever they took. I don't know. But yeah. I don't know what they were thinking here.
I think we did hit the topic we wanted to speak about. And our topic was mainly about like white supremacy, capitalism, things that Black people have to go through while living in America, and how that leads to self-hatred within the Black community.
Yeah.
I think the topic we want to speak about just touched on some different topics that we can't just say self-hatred within the Black community. It's a lot of things that relate to it. Yeah.
Because there's so much trauma to unpack. Oh my God. Like literally everything is built to not be for us. The medical field was not for us. You know, the doctor of modern medicine or the father of modern medicine, like Western medicine, he like experimented on 3 Black women. The book is in my room. I haven't finished it because I just cry every like time. But like he worked on them with no anesthesia, no nothing. And it was so bad that his assistants that were holding the women down, they couldn't handle it. So like they were like throwing up and stuff. And so they had to go. And so then each woman had to hold each other down. And I was just like, what?
Excuse me?
And he would like mutilate them and stuff. And that's where that whole notion that Black women don't feel pain. I'm sorry, that was not really necessary to say, but I just thought I should say it because I've been dying to tell somebody because like I just can't.
That's distrust within the medical field. And I think we need more Black doctors out there to improve the trust, because the Tuskegee incident with syphilis and how they were giving syphilis to Black men and they spread it to their families, and that's how syphilis became an outbreak, because they want to see how they reacted.
Henrietta Lacks, you know, her family still hasn't got reimbursements for that.
Yeah, we haven't even got reimbursements for slavery, and they had a cure for syphilis, but they didn't give it to them.
Right, and I don't want my reparations in land or anything. I want cash.
Yep,
I'm
run me that
I want cash check. You can send me a card in the mail. But yeah, it's just like I just hate the fact that I watched the Henrietta Lacks movie and I read the book. And I just think it's bogus how they treated her like dirt while she was in the hospital. And then they're gonna use her cells.
Which are still alive to this day.
Yeah. That's why like Johns Hopkins is a top research university, but that's the reason why I didn't apply. You're not gonna get my money, bro.
They have the HeLa cells there?
Yeah, that's where they are, at Johns Hopkins. In the middle of campus.
But on that note, I'm happy that we had this podcast. Look at the representation. 3 different skin tones of Black. This is beautiful. I love to see.